Hi, I'm Fiona Blinko from DIY Digital, and in this video I'll be answering the question, is Google Ads the right strategy for your business? Is it right for you? Do you want to be doing Google Ads? And in particular, I'm going to be talking about Google search ads. So this is an example of a Google ad. This is a Google ad for dance shoes. And we can tell it's an ad because it has a little green box that says ad on the left-hand side there. And here's an ad, a Google ad for irrigation supplies. And here's an ad for lawyers. So that's what we're talking about, just so that you know that that's what a Google ad is. When somebody searches for something in Google and the listings that they see, if you can see the little green ad to the left of that web address, you know that they've paid to be in that spot. And so a Google ad is you as a business owner paying Google to be on page one, preferably at the top of page one, for the search term of your choice. So now that we've got that out of the way, 3 things. Do you want to be using Google Ads for your business? Okay, here it is. 1, that you need to be a business. 2, you need to have a website. That might sound a little bit obvious, but these ads click through to your website. So you need to have a website. And the 3rd thing is being on page 1 of Google going to get you new clients or customers? And some people might say, well, yeah, of course it would. Every business. But let's just explore that a little bit further. Before we explore that, let's just explore, I said, number 1, are you a business? Well, you might be an organisation, an institution, a membership club, a charity. So, I mean, you might not be strictly a business, but are you an organisation that wants to bring in new people, get more interest in what you do, the products you sell, the services you provide, or the services that you offer? In which case, I'm just going to call you a business for that sake, but an organisation. Do you have a website? That was our number 2 on the list. Do you have a website? Well, we want it to be a pretty good website. If you're spending money on Google Ads and then your website is really not up to scratch, you could be wasting money because the website might not be good enough in order for the person who's gone to it to really say, oh, I'm interested in this. This is right for me. So you probably want a pretty good website. You want it to be mobile responsive because if somebody is searching on their mobile phone and they come across your Google ad while they're on a mobile phone and your website isn't mobile friendly, people have to pinch and zoom to see the text, to read the text, then perhaps your website isn't good enough. Or you want to have the website you want people to be able to buy then and there online if you're selling products, or ensure that your contact details, that they can email or phone you, and that's pretty visible and easy to find on your website. So there's a criteria. You need to be a business or an organisation. You need to have a website. We want it to be a pretty good website. The 3rd thing is being on page 1 of Google going to actually get you new clients or customers? Okay, so if the answer is yes, then Google Ads are right for you, but let's explore that last one a little bit more. Let's look at some great examples of where Google Ads are really good. Podiatrist. Construction supplies, farm supplies, cleaning supplies, local repairs, perhaps for you repair computers or sewing machines or lawn mowers. You know, it's great for that kind of business. Great for in-home services, so retaining walls or landscaping or nursing care, something like that would work really well on Google Ads because it's what people are looking for. And also really hard to find products. Perhaps you have a very small niche area, perhaps you do knives for for leather crafts. Maybe you do seed or seedlings for really specialist plant varieties. Perhaps you do bottles for boutique perfumeries or valves for farm pumps. You know, like you don't need to be really broad. You can be quite specific, and Google Ads can work for you. In fact, they can work very well for you. So they're the types of businesses and services that often do very well with Google Ads. Let's look at some examples perhaps where it isn't for you. So if you have a revolutionary new product that's so hard to imagine, people probably wouldn't Google for it, because people don't Google stuff that they don't know about. So perhaps you need to do a bigger brand awareness or product awareness campaign, either alongside Google Ads or before you do Google Ads. So you might try YouTube advertising, or you might talk with a lot of affiliate marketers, or there might be another strategy that you use beyond or in addition to Google Ads. Let's say you've got an everyday supermarket item. Let's say you've got tomato sauce or crisps or breakfast cereal. Well, you know, I mean, really, people just go down to the supermarket if they need those products, don't they? They don't really Google to try and find tomato sauce. Not usually. So probably running Google Ads isn't the best strategy for that everyday smaller item. If you've got an opportunistic sale, so let's say you sell Fairy Floss. Well, people buy Fairy Floss when they're at a fair or a market garden, or, you know, something, they're out and about. So, you know, having Fairy Floss on Google Ads is not really going to help you with building and growing your business. Of course, if you sell a Fairy Floss machine, or the ingredients for it, or a mobile unit of some sort that a business owner might be interested, who's starting a Fairy Floss business or running a Fairy Floss business, you supply them, then Google Ads might work for you, because that's not an opportunistic buy. They're searching for the things to make their business work. But the Fairy Floss itself, yeah, I wouldn't suggest you go down the Google Ads track. And then let's look at some very highly visual items. The fashion is often highly visual. So let's have a look at this example of a red dress. And then let's have a look at this example of work boots. So they're highly visual items and fashion items, red dresses or work boots. Here, in fact, they are using Google Ads, but they're using something called Google Shopping Ads. You can see this little grey sponsored at the top, so that tells us they've paid to be there. But they get a picture, don't they? They get a picture. So that's a Google Shopping ad rather than a Google Search ad. And in this video, I'm specifically talking about, are Google Search ads right for you? So there's some examples of actually where Google Ads or Google Search ads possibly might not work for your business, and perhaps you need to think of some other promotion or marketing strategy for your business to get clients and customers. Now let's just look at one other example where these are actually great for your business, but they can be costly because they're highly competitive. So things like electricians, plumbers, accommodation. It might be great to do Google Ads, but just be aware that if you're going down that track, it's likely to be quite expensive because it's a highly competitive space. And also another thing to think about, some businesses aren't allowed to do Google advertising. Google restrict some businesses. So if you sell medications or you're in the medical field, you might find that it's not allowed. If you sell alcohol, you'll probably find that actually Google won't approve your ads. So you can't do Google ads in that circumstance. So now I'm just going to have a look at some examples that we've talked about to just refine our understanding a little bit better about how the Google ads work for you. So let's look at the example of tourism, which is a highly competitive space. And what we're going to do here is look at hiking companies on the Great Ocean Road. So okay, the Great Ocean Road is a very popular tourist destination in Australia, and particularly for hikers. It's a lovely part of the world. If you ever want to come here, come to the Great Ocean Road. I've hiked it, it's very, very nice. And so these hiking companies provide supplies like they might take your backpack in the morning, so you can just walk with your day pack, and then they drop it off at night. So, and they might do other various things. So hiking companies, Great Ocean Road, and we can see here that there are several tourism operators that are placing Google ads, and that's a reasonable thing for them to do. Now, if I change that to, and hold it, just before we go there, the type of businesses that are advertising are probably local, from what I can tell, local tourism operators. They don't seem to be what I would call big multinational companies. But now if I go accommodation Ocean Road, now we're going to see something else. We've got some ads being run, but look at the companies, Trivago.com and Stays.com and Whatif.com. So they are big national companies, and if you wanted to advertise, you would have to suspect that because they're big players, that's going to be an expensive thing for you. So if you're a boutique a company helping hikers, you might find you can place Google ads and perhaps it wouldn't be too expensive, but we can see there's some competition. But if you're doing some accommodation, not only is there competition, but I think you could probably gather from that it's going to be fairly expensive. Okay, so that's one example. Now let's have a look at another example. If we go to plumbers in Sydney, we will see that plumbers is a very competitive space. A lot of trades are on Google. So yes, you can do it and it would work for you, but be prepared to spend some money. If we now change that to podiatrist in Sydney, we might find that actually there's no podiatrists that are running ads. There's some what's called Google My Business listings, but there's nothing on top of that Google My Business listing, which means that if you're a podiatrist, that you could place an ad and very likely it wouldn't cost too much money and you could get on page one at the top of the page. So that's just something to consider. So, do you think people would Google for your business? And then that's a positive, you could use Google ads. And then perhaps, do you think it's going to be very expensive? So Google yourself, or the search terms that you think your customers would use to find you, see what the results are, and make a little bit of a judgment call as to one, would people Google to find your product and service? And is it a space that you feel you could get a good return on investment? It's not going to perhaps cost you too much, or you're prepared to pay that money. You know that it's going to cost you that much, and you're prepared to go in with it on that basis. So that's what I would suggest is for you in terms of understanding if Google Ads is for you. If it is, then please do feel free to visit my website at diydigital.com.au to see how we can help you. And if you did enjoy this video, please feel free to subscribe to my channel.